I think that means they're ready. We're a couple minutes early, but clearly you're ready. And so we'll get started. So good afternoon. Welcome to the regular Board of Trustees meeting on this Monday, March 17, 2025. And before we get started with the agenda, allow me to say this. Oftentimes at the dais, you will hear me say that I think this is a remarkable group of leaders who are very invested in our region, and in particular in GRCC. And I always talk about the diversity of thought and life experiences, but a way in which we were not diverse in thought in the past several weeks has been our unwavering commitment to GRCC. I say that because I know in the last couple of weeks, some folks may have questions about things, but want you to be clear on our unwavering commitment and dedication to making sure we're moving GRCC forward in a productive and excellent manner. And want to thank you for being patient and gracious and graceful, and really call in to leaning in on this community for the support that you need. And so I could go on, but I'm going to pause there and get us into the agenda. So thank you. So our first act really is my asking Acting President Freiberger if there are any guests in the audience that you would like to introduce.
I do. Thank you very much. I'd like to ask Dr. Sheila Jones to come to the podium, and I believe she has a whole group that she would like to introduce.
I do. Thank you. Good afternoon, trustees and members of our community here today. I'm delighted to stand here and on behalf of our Faculty Association President, Professor Mike Light, who I was anticipating. Mike, you're here. I didn't see you come in. Please join me. While Mike comes up, I want to introduce several guests who are joining us in recognition of their recently earning tenure. 21 faculty members were granted tenure on February 21st, effective with the upcoming 2025-26 academic year. Earning tenure at GRCC is a process that takes place over the course of 4 years. This is a rigorous, peer-reviewed process and includes the submission of a tenure portfolio, providing insight into the faculty members' teaching philosophy, classroom observation reports, student evaluations, teaching contributions, professional development, student service, and college service. This year's tenure class is representative of 4 of our schools and student affairs, as well as many of our faculty roles, including classroom faculty, advisors, counselors, and instructional laboratory coordinators. The journey to earning tenure is not one that a faculty member walks alone. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the numerous colleagues who provide support along the way, beginning with their department heads or program directors, departmental and college-wide mentors, associate deans, associate provosts, and faculty and staff from our teaching, learning, and distance education area, in addition to the support I know they receive from Professor Light and the Faculty Association. In the words of their students and colleagues, you should know that the faculty members, and I read this many times over in reviewing all 21 of the portfolios, were described as follows: equity-focused, student-centered, enthusiastic, compassionate, responsive, supportive, collegial, creative, positive, empowering, and committed to helping students achieve their goals. Additionally, they have provided service to students and the college in the form of advising within their department, sponsoring clubs, showing students how to use TikTok to market small businesses. I learned a lot from that one. And engaging with our K-12, university, and employer partners. I could go on, but I know that we have a full agenda ahead. I am so grateful that these faculty members are part of our GRCC community. As I say their name, and I would like all who are here today to stand and remain standing when I do so, please join me in congratulating our newly tenured faculty members. And given that it's almost 24 names, if we could hold our applause until they all stand, that would be great. Allison Hoekstra, Vanessa Barham, Brenna Berghardt, Brandon Berg, Dr. Christopher Johnston, Dr. Emily Payne, Evan Macklin, Jacob Pollock, Jeffrey Stukin, Jesse Crandall, Jonathan Resendez, Carly Zimmer, Kevin Stewart, Linnell Brinks, Megan Downey, Melissa Ware, Monica Bliss, Nefertiti Williams, Sarah Waller Nicolette, Dr. Shannon Shaker, and Dr. Zachary Marshall. Thank you. Mike, did you want to?
I wasn't planning on saying anything, but you're all rock stars, and I appreciate everything that you do. The entire community does. I'll say one thing about tenure. At community colleges, it matters, but it matters in a different way than at four-year institutions, because these folks have demonstrated their commitment to nurturing the students of West Michigan, and it's all about teaching. So I'm super proud of them.
That's just awesome. So 4 of the descriptors that I did jot down of the many: student-centered, responsive, supportive, and empowering. Thank you so much, and congratulations. Our first order of business today is the approval of the agenda. So trustees, please note that at this time, we'll remove any item from the consent agenda or separate it for consideration if necessary. So are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda? No? May I have a motion for the approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Support?
Thank you. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, this will be our first time in the agenda where we will open up the meeting for public comment. If there is anyone in the audience who would like to address the board, you may do so at this time. Not seeing any. We will move to our special order of business. And our first special order of business is proposed tuition and fee rates. And so Acting President Freiberger, please stay at your seat and walk us through this.
Thank you. We are pleased to bring you a tuition and fee proposal for the upcoming 25-26 fiscal year. These proposed rates, if approved, would be implemented for the fall of 2025. What we are proposing for our in-district general tuition rate per contact hour is a $3 increase, which represents approximately 2.4% increase on our overall tuition. That would bring our tuition from $124 per contact hour to $127 per contact hour. As is represented in the chart that was in your packet, we are proposing a representative percentage increase on all of our tuition rates across the board, from our non-resident, resident, and out-of-state rate through our Tier 1 and Tier 2 differential tuition rates, our job training, construction, trades rates as well. Important to note that while we're recommending the same percentages, our job training rates are rates per program, where our construction trades rates are rates per course, as was noted on your chart. Our early childhood or preschool rates are included as well. We are looking at approximately a 3% rate increase for our early childhood rates. Our early childhood team has done a phenomenal job of comparing their rates for the various infant, toddler, preschool, and daily rates to others in the community, and we remain below. Although our programs are excellent and much improved over any other in the area, I'm sure our rates remain lower. So we're very pleased with that. And then finally, we are recommending no changes in any of our universal fees. So those would remain as is for the upcoming fiscal year. With that, I would take any questions that anyone would have, and then would seek approval for those rates.
Questions or comments, trustees? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the proposed tuition and fees rates as presented?
So moved.
Have a second?
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion? All
I mean,
those,
just to comment that as we review this among ourselves, and we saw this before, that this is just, compared to other institutions, we're still, I mean, we have great pricing and it's still affordable. We often warn about making sure that our education for GRCC is affordable, and these rates still keep us right where we need to be.
They do, and this would keep our tuition and fees rates based on what we know now. Clearly, not all community colleges have approved rates for next year, but we are below the state average for our community college peers for both tuition and fees, all in.
so at this time, I'm going to ask all those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. And the next item is our 2025 estimate of taxes and appropriation, and might you say a little bit about that?
I will. This resolution is something that we bring to you annually. This is included as a requirement of the Michigan Community College Act, and the requirement times this, that we must approve our estimated property tax and state appropriation budgeted revenues for next year in part of a resolution, and this must be done before the third Monday in April of every year. So this does not align well with our budget adoption process. Thus, we bring this to you annually in advance of that. Again, this resolution will provide our estimate for total property tax revenue as well as total state appropriation revenue for next year. You'll see the total in the resolution is $95.5 million. That includes the property tax that goes to our plant fund, as well as the state appropriations that include the state pension amounts that come to us and are returned. We are looking for consideration of this resolution to keep us in compliance with the requirement in the Community College Act.
Any questions or concerns, highlights you want to lift up before we move to a motion?
I'm going to ask my annual question of I know we're authorized to collect 1.9 mils. What are we collecting after rollback?
1.69 prior to any consideration for rollback for next year. We do not yet have that information.
Thank you.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the 2025 estimate of taxes and appropriation as presented?
So moved. Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Now is the time that we will move to approve the consent items. We have a motion to approve the consent items as presented in the agenda.
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. We're moving to action items, purchases over $100,000. I have a motion to approve the purchases over $100,000 as presented.
So moved.
Support.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. I promise you, they are not this easy when we're in other rooms. We have seen this and heard some of this before. So Acting President Freiberger, President's report?
Yes, there are no monitoring reports or institutional reports at this time. We do have your financial information that is incorporated in each of your board packets. This includes the financial statements for the period ended February 28 of 2025. Just a couple of things to note in that report. First, the budget has been updated to incorporate what was passed as part of the mid-year budget amendment at your last meeting, so it's a little more comparable at this point in time. Our revenue is tracking right in line with budget. As again, we're looking at summer enrollment going into the summer of 25. That enrollment is looking very positive right now, and that hasn't been included in here, so we're hoping for an increase there and looking to serve a large number of students this summer, so we are certainly watching that. Property taxes and state aid are tracking as was explained in the budget amendment last month. Our expenses at this point in time are on target, nothing of concern there. As we've talked before, just as a what's coming up next, we will and are beginning to compile request for the next year or upcoming 25-26 budget. We are processing through all of those now. We'll bring you a comprehensive budget budget proposal in May 6th, is I believe the date of your budget work session. We'll have another opportunity at your second meeting in May if there are any additional questions or need for information, and then would bring that to you for your consideration in June. We continue to watch the state budget. Not a ton of activity yet. We had the governor's proposal, which we talked about at the last month meeting, and have not yet seen House or Senate in detail for community colleges. So we are watching, waiting for those. It would not surprise me if the budget process is a little, at the state level, a little more lengthy than we have seen in prior years. So we will keep you updated as we work through that. I would be happy to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Are there any specific parts of the continuing resolution in Washington, D.C., the federal budget, that any particular line items or portions of that budget that you're keeping your eye on?
Certainly Pell is significant, and we are watching that. A lot of the grants that have been talked about, we have a number of them that are up for renewal. Several of them this summer, so we are watching that very closely. Unfortunately, don't have any specifics yet. Certainly are talking through all of that as part of our budget planning.
Thank you.
Any additional questions or comments? Not at this time? Okay. And you have another item, don't you?
Yes, there is, the best of my knowledge, no faculty association report. Mike saying no, but I would like to ask Erin Von Egmont, Vice President of College Advancement and Executive Director of the GRCC Foundation, to come and share a foundation report with us.
Thank you and good afternoon. I am pleased to provide you with a few updates from our foundation team regarding the work we have been doing and also planning for the upcoming months. First, I would like to provide an exciting staffing update for you. Erin Muhlenkamp has joined the foundation team as our Senior Development Officer, and Erin's first day is today, and she joined me here at the board meeting. Erin, can you please stand? Thank you.
Welcome.
And you do not have to have the name Erin to work in the foundation. So just a little bit about Erin. She is an experienced nonprofit professional with over 7 years of experience in fundraising, community engagement, and program management. Erin joined GRCC from the Alzheimer's Association Michigan chapter, where she served as the development manager. Before joining the Alzheimer's Association, Erin spent several years with Special Olympics Wisconsin. So as GRCC's Senior Development Officer, she will mainly focus on frontline fundraising with our internal and external communities. So welcome, Erin. We are excited to have you join our team. Next, I'd like to share a scholarship update for the 24-25 academic year. To date, we have awarded just over 1,400 students a total of $1.1 million. To give you a little perspective, at this same time last year, we had awarded 1,300 students just over $1 million. So while that may not seem like a substantial increase, I share that to show that our team works year-round to ensure that available dollars go to our deserving students. So soon we will start making awards for the summer semester. This past Saturday was the scholarship application priority deadline for the 25-26 school year, and we will begin that awarding cycle soon. But just as a reminder, even though the priority deadline has passed for next year, we still always encourage students to apply. We make those awards year-round, as I alluded to earlier, and we simply start our awarding process with those students who applied by the priority deadline. Some other news I wanted to share is that recently our team did some research to see how our foundation assets compare to other community college foundations around the state. So I wanted to share that with some of that with you today. So based on 2023 net assets, we rank second out of the 28 colleges with over 38 million in net assets, and this was as of 2023. Northwestern Michigan and Traverse City is first with 57 million. A majority of the schools are between the $10 and $20 million range, with the lowest being just over $1 million. Additionally, we are the first in total scholarship dollars awarded to students. In 2023, as I've mentioned before, we awarded over $1.3 million. During the same year, only 3 other schools awarded over $1 million. So all these schools, and then all the other schools awarded $600,000 or less. So we're pretty proud of those numbers. While this is certainly great to see, and I was happy to share with you, we will remain focused on building upon our strong foundation, ensuring continued growth and expanding our impact for future generations. So last, I just have a few event updates for you. This coming Thursday morning, we will host our annual Creating Connections breakfast, where we connect scholarship donors with their scholarship recipients. It's one of our favorite events where we witness meaningful connections taking place between our students and their donors. So we hope you can join us. And then last, you should have received your invitation to ScholarFest, which is our annual fundraising event. This event is taking place on Tuesday, May 13th in the Secchia Piazza. And as I've updated previously, we are changing that format up a little bit this year. So instead of honoring an individual donor, we will be highlighting our students. The event will look different from years past, but we're excited for the changes and hope to see you there. So with that, that's my update today, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions, comments?
I had a question just around how scholarships have changed or evolved as the sort of Promise scholarship have hit, the Michigan Reconnect, all these other pieces, and like feels like maybe that has shifted goals maybe, or is it, last dollar? Or could you just talk through like how things have changed as the environment's shifted?
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. So that is something we worked a lot on, and especially communicating with our donors this past summer. While the perception is that it probably has changed, our scholarship dollars are more important than ever. And the reason is, and you kind of said it, is that last dollar. So many of these new state programs are last dollar scholarships, and only cover tuition and fees, where our foundation scholarships cover things beyond that. And we know that our students really, that's a lot of times where their greatest need is. So I can think of maybe out of the 353 funds we have, maybe 4 of them are for tuition and fees only. All others are for other educational expenses. So while it hasn't changed that landscape for us, it does change how we communicate with our donors to make sure that perception is, well, you don't need my money anymore. It's free to attend college. That's not the case. So we're continually working on that message. But good question.
Additional questions or highlights? I would just say thank you again for all the work that you're doing on behalf of our students and staff. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
That is all that I have.
Okay, thank you very much. And the next item is board chair report. And I can't say enough about the presence of the 21 newly tenured professors, faculty. So congratulations again. You make a big difference here every day. So really appreciate it. Dr. Jones and Faculty Association President Mike Light, thank you so much for holding space for them. It's a great treat for us to actually see you. So congratulations. I also think I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge all of the advocacy work that you all do behind the scenes in terms of making sure we're right-sizing funding for GRCC. So I want to say thank you for that. And lastly, I just want to illuminate the tension. I don't think we ever go lightly into conversations about increasing tuition. I think that we always are very mindful of maintaining accessibility and also making sure we have what we need so we continue to offer excellent service in all that we do. And so I feel like I need to say that just as an exclamation point to, those are not easy conversations. A lot of thought goes into it, and mindfulness in terms of accessibility and excellence. So thank you for bearing with us through that conversation too. The next thing on the, and my colleagues will have an opportunity to share more a little later, and they might comment on those items as well. But the next thing on our formal agenda is community connections. And Trustee Williams, I believe, has something to say about that.
Oh, sure. Yep. We had we received one email from a staff member since our last meeting. It was a very comprehensive and important list of questions about the impact of the current attacks on DEI on colleges across the country, kind of rooted in a real desire to proactively work through potential implications, both with leadership and legal counsel. So we appreciated getting that, have continued to talk with each other and with school leadership just to identify what steps are being taken to address that. So,
Thank you. And now we will open up the meeting for public comment. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to address the board regarding any matter, you may do so at this time. And I do not see anyone moving, so I will move to our final board comment. And so trustees, might you have any final board comments that you'd like to make tonight? Sure.
Just want to congratulate everyone who just made tenure. Great job.
And any other trustees?
I'm just going to piggyback on that Trustee Perkins' comment and say thank you to all of our faculty, including the ones that just got awarded tenure. You are the first line, you are the main contact that our students have with our college. So just thank you for everything you do in that role.
Well said. Anyone else? Okay. And so with that being said, I want to thank our trustees and staff for a great meeting. And this meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much. Congratulations.